Hello and welcome back to the podcast, We Are Selling. My name's Lee Woodward, the author of the Complete Salesperson course. Today's podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Nexar. Nexar is a dedicated real estate platform specialising in lead generation and database management of the entire real estate company for BDMs and agents working as one platform to generate opportunity. Nexar seamlessly integrates into your business systems, allowing you to have an extended solution. Let's get started with this week's episode. Today, we're going to do a check-in on AI. Everybody talks about it, but there's so much Chinese whispers that we need to get expert advice. And joining me today is Steve Cachia. Steve, welcome aboard.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're spending a lot of time in the world of AI, but before we get into where it's up to and what we can do with it, give us your background just for everyone in the world listening to this podcast so that you are valid in the area of technology.
Okay. I want to go as far back when I was 14, just to give you a bit of a brief of my personality. We didn't have computers back in our school in those days, so I just caught wind that they were looking to purchase computers for the classroom. So I went to the principal, said, I can do them for you. I can build them and sell them. He gave me the opportunity, and that was my first business. I actually sold 25 computers to the school, built them at 14. So that was my first business. The business that I had in the majority of my career, which revolves around real estate, was my real estate CRM product. So I did that for about 16 years and exited in 2016.
16 years of CRM, real estate agents and lead generation.
Yes.
Continue on.
Exactly. After that, I did lead generation for about 2 years specifically for real estate. I actually was in real estate as a property manager. That's how I first started to get into real estate.
Process part of the area.
Exactly. So back in those days, it was property management and then you get promoted to sales. But yeah, I found that once I was in digital marketing, then I was generating leads for agents. So I thought that not many agents were doing the follow-up once the leads were sent. So I was great at creating leads, but then there wasn't that follow-up done. So my next step was actually getting my full license and starting up my own real estate agency. And then COVID hit and we all know what happened in Melbourne there. So yeah, and then I've got this latest of few products that I've been working on.
Now, when you first saw ChatGPT and the AI platforms, you just lit up in possibility.
Yeah, look, my brain, obviously a real estate CRM brain, went straight to that. And how it is going to disrupt SaaS models in general. Any application, I believe, is really in the firing line right now. So it is going to be replaced by AI agents. I know everyone's probably heard that word. It's a buzzword and don't even know what it is. But it's pretty much a way to interact with data like no one's ever seen before. Because at the end of the day, SaaS products are just an interface that allows you to access data, which is basically a spreadsheet. So if you are able to use a ChatGPT-like interface that can then talk to a spreadsheet, there goes SaaS products, because that's pretty much what a SaaS product is.
Steve, there's an exciting part about this. For my entire career, 30 years plus, I've had many mature real estate agents say to me, and they're very skillful on the people side, Lee, I'm just not good with technology. I don't understand all the platforms. Today, they could just talk to the platforms.
Yeah.
They could just say, hey, find me all my buyers in this range to this range, and I want to send an email out, and can you make that happen? This is exciting for the senior agent who doesn't want to learn the dials.
Exactly. And think about from a training perspective, like you put on a new staff member, it takes them a month, 6 weeks to learn a software product. That just goes away, that you can just ask a question. You need it to do a task. Same from a principal agent. Instead of having a specific set report that the CRM has to provide, you just ask for what you want and it will give you exactly what you want within half a second.
Now, Steve, this is so exciting. Part of you and I doing this podcast today is I got to show you the complete SNAC app. And when you looked at that, you could see my years of recording and time and so forth. In this context, what will we be able to do with the SNAC app in the future?
Yeah, so you'll be able to just ask it a question. So it'll be like an AI version of yourself. And you'll be able to ask any question.
Give me an example.
Okay, say, for example, a text template that you want to use for buyers. So you can just say, what text template does Lee use for cold buyers? And then it will either tell you the answer and it will ask you, would you like me to email you this template? And it will automatically shoot that off.
I am so excited I can't talk because I've built such a massive library of incredible assets, but no one likes searching and finding, and I'm not sure where it was. I can't remember what the name was. So with AI, a big part of our coachable moment for the listener is get good at the questions.
Yeah, they keep talking about prompting. Just to give you a bit of a background as well, I've got two daughters. One's in year 8 at the moment this year, but she was in year 7 last year. And it's funny, the teachers are not even prepared for what OpenAI and ChatGPT is capable of. So you need to really teach your children, this is in my opinion, how to become really good at prompting, because that is going to be the future, to be able to how to talk to these chat GPT models to get the most out of them. So,
and Steve, a big error people make is they chat to them as if they're thick.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's so many different things. Like, I know a lot of real estate agents, and the majority of agents use ChatGPT to write listing descriptions, where it can do things like you upload a commercial lease to it and you can ask it a question about anything in the lease document or Section 32. Imagine a buyer being able to ask questions about a contract or a Section 32. So again, there's so many different industries that are going to be affected by this, and they can't see it coming yet. There are still solicitors and conveyancers out there that do, hard copies. They require hard copies. It's ridiculous. So, they're the ones that are unfortunately going to be left behind. And it's the same in the real estate sector. You need to really adapt this. And if you don't know, you need to speak to someone like me. It's at the end of the day that can understand it and put it into use cases perspective for your business.
And the products you build at the moment are being used very well. Yeah. I'm going to call it the greeting video person, but on the site, you could land on my site, and you will be soon. And hi, I'm Lee Woodward. Thanks for visiting us today. If you're here for coaching, just click here. If you'd like to book an appointment, click here. That is so, I feel like I just met the agent, the trainer, whatever it is. And that greeting means a person doesn't have to navigate all over your site. I can't find it.com.au.
Yeah, exactly. Like we mentioned, and we were having a chat before about getting leads from your website is getting harder and harder. And it's because there's that lack of trust now with data security. So how do you get people to fill out details now? You need to be able to sell your personality and build instant trust to get them to fill a form out.
Speed dating on the web.
That's it. So that's where I came up. The product's actually called Capture Video Forms, CAPTR. You can check it out, captr.com.au. And yeah, that's just one of our products, which is a video form funnel lead generator. But we've also got something really new that's coming next week, which is super exciting. And it's about social media. Now, getting video onto social media, some people have the knack for it and really spend the time on it, and they do really well. But like the 95% of us that don't feel confident in front of a video camera, I built a product called Clonecast. And what that does is you have an AI voice conversation with a bot. And what that does is it asks you what you want to post about for the week. So you just have a little bit of a conversation.
So give me an example of, if you were skilled at this as an agent, what you'd be asking, or give me an example of that question.
Yeah. Okay. So for example, it'll ask you, what do you want to post this week? And then you can say, well, I've got 5 opens on the weekend, starting from 10 a.m. all the way through 1 p.m. We've just sponsored a school concert or something along those lines, or you're doing an event that you're hosting. So it asks you for questions, and it actually gives you some prompts as well. So you don't have to think about it. If you ask the AI, I'm not sure what to post about, it actually gives you suggestions. And it can be about local markets. It can be about anything that you got going on. And then it takes that information away, that conversation, and automatically creates 3 posts about what you spoke about. It fully written.
What I love about this, Steve, is in traditional AI, and I've said this a few times on air, when I first saw AI, I was cranky. I thought this is a covers band because it's searching the world. But if you're the original artist and you're saying, I just did this and we had a record sale and the purchaser came in from Sweden, this is all up there, but exactly. You don't know how to type it out and do it. And you're being prompted based upon what people do want to hear about.
Yeah, and what is really going to blow you away is not only is it going to post text, but what it does, it actually creates a video of you using an AI video clone. So we get you set up with an AI video clone, you approve the script, and then it automatically creates the video of you saying those words and then posts it to all the socials, all of them in one go.
People have just pulled their car over in this part of our podcast. And this is an amazing communications process. And I know for a lot of people listening to this, Lee, where you're going with it, my job is to report on what's going on in real time. I know you're going over to the UK because Australia's got the best agents in the world. If you're in the UK listening, sorry I just said that. And in the States, you'll understand. But the Australian profession of selling and marketing communication, it is a high standard across the world. And you're part of that. You're from Melbourne.
Yeah.
You know, great coffee and real estate agents. So suddenly we've got this opportunity to leverage our time. And yes, I know there's all questions and concerns about where AI is going, but that's what today's about. Give me 5 good uses for AI now. Number 1, we know we use it for writing copy, and we might be able to get better at that with our questioning. What's the next use?
Next use specifically for real estate is automation. Look, there are tools out there that you can build yourself, but again, it's quite difficult still at this stage to do that. But just being able to even automatically reply to emails, you can set it up to do that. Simple things like doing buyer call outs automatically. So that's another tool that I'm working on where you can automatically do a phone call in your voice and have a proper conversation with that person. It can do things like one-on-ones for sales management, using voice.
Coaching.
Yeah, coaching. Imagine role playing, right? So for example, you get a new salesperson starting on, and you, instead of having to sit there as a sales manager or principal and do the role playing with them, you have an AI chatbot that does that, which uses voice, and it can give you a report back on how good they are as well at that role playing scenario. And it's different for every time. So if they want to get better at their craft, they can do it on a weekly basis, fortnightly basis, and it's just going to hone their skills. So yeah, the opportunities are quite endless. 5 is not enough. We haven't got enough time.
But how great that these are tools, they're leverage tools. You and I were working together today, and everyone knows I do that text back. But all that happens staffless. It's recorded, it's registered. And then with AI, at the moment, I've got one of our wonderful team members going to find the details of that person we don't have, but AI could search the net and find those details.
100%. Yeah.
And for my team listening, we can do something more productive.
Yeah.
Because it's really the repeatable tasks where it all comes together.
100%. And it's all about, like what you said with the two-way SMS. It's what I see AI becoming is with your nurture funnels and your nurture sequences to be able to make that specific to each user, to each client. So it's not just the same old content again and again. It's specific to that person. And that's where AI becomes really powerful.
Now, I could be way excited and ahead of my time here, Steve, but in part of the work I'm asking you to do for myself, one of those things you want to build into the future is Ask Lee. So you can go to the site, Lee, what would you do if someone said this to you? And from one of my SNAC apps that's been beautifully recorded, there is the answer. But trying to get hold of me during the day, let's set up a Zoom, let's do a phone call. I think a lot of my clients would love the opportunity to go, just tell me quickly, what would you say here? Because my life is words. Everything's about how we modify a word, look at a word. And after doing 2,000 interviews, I've listened to so many wonderful ways of saying things.
Yeah, look, it is a total game changer. Just being able to, like, obviously your IP is what sets you apart from an AI bot, I should say, because what the AI does, it's just a tool to be able to amplify your IP. So if you're good at what you do, it can definitely amplify your capabilities. So like, for example, with me, I use it for coding. I've always been a one-man show. I did my CRM by myself. So I was used to keeping things lean and automating tools when there was no AI. But now with the power of AI, someone like myself is 50x my output. So I can really get things out quickly. And yeah, it is changing productivity levels and I've been dealing with a few large organizations as well. Productivity has dropped significantly. And where it's funny, AI is actually supposed to increase productivity. But what I'm finding is people are using AI, but they're just using it to do less work. The problem is and like someone like me who's motivated and wants to get out there and get products out there quickly, I'm able to do things really fast. And so can everyone else, but they don't. They choose not to. So that's where there's going to be a big shift in work ethic.
You've got to invest back into the capacity you just got back. And I'll give you a live example of that. In the Real Estate Hot Topics days, the audio would be done. I'd lift it up to the transcription site.
Yeah.
About a day later, it had come back as a Word doc. I record now, right click, and there it is.
Yeah.
Because we can do that. And then I say, this is today's interview. Can you write me a summary? Comes back. And this is where, in the future, I'd love you and I to do a what should you ask AI?
Yeah.
Because the better you are at questions and going deeper and deeper, you're training that AI to work better with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning how to prompt. Like just for example, with my daughter again, because I had to use ChatGPT because she had something due the next day. She didn't tell me about it. So I did use ChatGPT to help her with her homework. But even just to get it to rewrite something in different language or so that a 5-year-old can understand it. You know, it can rewrite things and it can create code and it can do, so many things that a lot of agents just need to have a conversation with someone like me that can point them in the right direction.
My daughter was reading a bedtime story with no time and my little grandson said, tell me a story. And she goes, ChatGPT, give me a story about a boy who did and this, and then read it. And where did you get that story from? But isn't that interesting use of AI?
It is. It just shows how broad the use cases are. So obviously my real estate brain goes straight to real estate and CRM and tech. But there's so many different use cases. Like I'm talking to so many different industries at the moment, from logistics to mortgage broking to lawyers. So I'm working with a vast scope of industries, which is great because the way certain industries do things, like for example, mortgage broking, I've been quite heavily over the last 12 months in mortgage broking, and they actually envy the way real estate agents do things, how they prospect. Mortgage brokers are very systems driven. They're mainly from the financial sector, so they're not really salespeople. But the ones that are writing $1 million, $2 million, they're actually really good at sales and building that instant rapport. So that's, again, another part of the industry that I've felt really good in, very similar to real estate, but bringing that sales component to the sector.
Steve, coachable moment for my final question. As someone who understands the real estate principles, agents, industry, and I think it's critical you came from the CRM space. That's the base moment of this whole thing. And we've only got lead generation, lead conversion, and client fulfillment. And lead gen has always been the challenge for everyone, unless you get it right. Where do you think the agents should focus their learning of AI? Using it's one thing, but if you were going to study and learn it, what should they be studying it for?
As in how to learn AI? Look, there is a lot of content on YouTube. A lot of it can be rubbish, but a lot of it can be good. But actually use AI to teach you how to prompt. You can actually ask ChatGPT, can you give me some tips on how to be a better prompter? And it will tell you. It's funny. It's like ChatGPT, they're giving you the keys to the universe, but no one knows what to ask it. Right. So that's where I think prompt engineering, there will be a course, mark my words, called prompt engineering at uni. Or they'll incorporate it in a high school curriculum. They need to. I think teachers need to do it as well. I think that's definitely where you need to focus your energy on, learning it by actually using it.
Amazing. Steve, I want to thank you for popping in.
Well,
I'm on the Gold Coast this week and you moved to the Gold Coast. We had a great moment to get together face to face, not over Zoom or phone. Congratulations on what you've done here in Australia. I know you're going over to the UK, which is going to be an exciting time. What's the one thing you're most passionate about with what you're doing with your business?
I have pivoted to AI purely because the opportunity is out of this world. And to be able to, look, I'm really passionate about small business. I do really love small business because it's very easy for them to adapt. They can make a change. The owner of the business could say, I want to do this from tomorrow, and it happens. Where large corporations, it does take a lot longer. And in my experience, sometimes it can take even up to a year just to do something. So I think small businesses...
We'll take that offline.
Small businesses are my passion. I've always been a small business owner, like from the age of 24, to be able to help them with tech, to be able to benefit them and scale. Because now small businesses will be able to scale using AI quite quickly, like the big corporations. So big corporations really need to be concerned about that. Like I just posted recently something on my LinkedIn where I've seen floating around where they believe in 2025, the next $1 billion company is going to be a one-man show. It's not going to require VC funds. It's not going to require...
All in favour?
Yeah. It's not going to require $25 million to start something.
Yeah.
And I'm an example of that. So watch this space.
Steve, for anyone listening to this that wants to find out more about what you're doing, how are they best to find you?
Yeah, well, you could search on LinkedIn, Steve Cachia, Cachia, or you can go to my website, captr.com.au or .com.co.uk. We've got them all. Yeah, and just reach out on my capture form and book an appointment. Happy to have a chat.
Steve, thank you for joining us.
Cheers.
Today's episode of We Are Selling was brought to you by Nexar. Nexar is the platform that is now partnering and delivering best-in-class real estate growth solutions that continue to perform over time. The Nexar platform has now partnered with some of our leading principals in teams in Australia. They are assisting with the lead generation engine of the company, agent loyalty, and the growth of the rent roll through connective communication. Nexar is doing the heavy lifting on nurturing your database to generate a pipeline for your agents and BDMs to convert to listings, sales, and new managements. Check the show notes and the link to episode 116, where there was a feature interview with Mr. Mark Kentwell. Thank you for listening. I look forward to speaking to you next week. My name's Lee Woodward. Goodbye.